Wait a minute. Now, I have been wrong before, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here. For the past 2 or 3 months, what has been the number one complaint amongst women in the Mountain West Conference? Well, Casey, the women have been complaining about their exclusion from the football team. Women can do anything men can do. They should be allowed to play football. This is misogyny. I think most women are smart enough to realize that they have no business being on the football field competing against Andre the Giant. I have been under the impression that the number one complaint with women in the Mountain West, it's been about the artist formerly known as Braden, who now chooses to identify as Blaire Fleming. San Jose State, along with the NCAA and the Mountain West Conference, they've allowed Blaire Fleming to become the star player on the women's volleyball team, even though Blaire was born with the future ability to grow a beard and went by the nickname Franklin Beans in elementary school. For 3 months now, we have been listening to the legitimate complaints of teammates like Brooke Slusser. We have been told that San Jose State intentionally hid the biological identity of Blaire Fleming from both teammates and roommates. Young women were living with Blaire Fleming without the knowledge that Blaire used to be Braden. There have been allegations that Blaire Fleming was throwing games and conspiring with opposing players to set up Brooke Slusser to potentially be injured. Hell, just last week, there was a lawsuit filed against San Jose State and the Mountain West Conference because they refused to remove Blaire Fleming from the team. We have seen, I think it's got to be at least 5 other programs cancel games and take losses against the Fighting Flemings. We have seen 5 other schools accept automatic losses because they refuse to put their young women in a potentially dangerous situation. For months, I have done nothing but praise the young women in the Mountain West Conference for being willing to sacrifice, for being willing to take a stand. I thought we were all on the same page here until yesterday afternoon when I received this footage of Brooke Slusser and her teammates hugging and celebrating with Blaire Fleming after Blaire made a game-winning play. To make matters worse, they were celebrating Blaire Fleming for making a game-winning play against Colorado State, the same Colorado State that Blaire Fleming was conspiring with to intentionally injure Brooke Slusser. Watch it for yourself. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. If you happen to stumble across this video, be sure to check out my main channel, Behind the Line. Search Behind the Line here on YouTube. Should be the first channel that comes up. Now, on one hand, I can understand Brooke Slusser and her teammates celebrating Blaire Fleming for making the game-winning play. You're caught up in the moment. The game is tightly contested. Emotions are running high. Blaire Fleming makes the game-winning play, and your first instinct is to celebrate with Blaire and your teammates. I get it. And in their defense, celebration didn't last very long. It wasn't like they put Blaire Fleming on their shoulders and paraded Blaire around the court. Mainly because I doubt these young women had the strength to lift Blaire up. From a competitive standpoint, I understand it. But from an optical perspective, it doesn't look great. I hate to use the word hypocritical because I don't think these young women are hypocrites, but I bring that up because that is the word that a lot of people were using on Twitter yesterday afternoon. I also understand where those people are coming from. How can you take a stand? How can you spend the last few months being completely against Blaire Fleming? How can you spend the last few months fighting the inclusion of Blaire Fleming? Even going as far as filing a lawsuit with an emergency injunction so Blaire Fleming is not allowed to compete in the conference tournament. How can you do all that? And 2 or 3 days later, you're celebrating Blaire Fleming on the court for making a game-winning play. It's one of those situations where you can't have it both ways. You can't be against Blaire Fleming being allowed to compete in women's volleyball, then turn around and celebrate Blaire Fleming for making a game-winning play in women's volleyball. I'm not a lawyer. I am no expert when it comes to lawsuits, but I do know how dirty the legal system can be. If I was the lawyer defending San Jose State, this video footage, it would be part of the foundation of my defense strategy. I know these women are young. I know they were caught in the moment. I know they probably weren't thinking about the optics, but unfortunately, optics matter. Maybe I'm thinking too much. Maybe I am making this into something that it's not. But when I saw this clip from Fox News yesterday afternoon on Twitter, that was the first thing that came to my mind, the optics. But you tell me, am I thinking too much into this? Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.